What is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video here in this DaVinci Resolve tutorial. Today I have a very exciting and really cool course for you guys where we're going to be learning a lot about animations and multi-track timelines. So this is something that's going to be a foundational piece to your video editing, and I think that you'll find this to be used quite a bit in your editing journey. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the software and get right into it. Alright, so to begin, let's go ahead and start getting into multi-track timelines. So to get a multi-track timeline, or to even see what I'm talking about, first off, you'll need to drag in a piece of media or a clip into your timeline. So create a new timeline. And once you've got to this point, go ahead and drag in another right above it. And watch what will happen, okay? You see how when I put this one above it, it says now V2 or video 2? So you see that another track or another layer in DaVinci Resolve now appears. And that is pretty much how you can get multiple tracks or layers in DaVinci Resolve. They probably wonder, well, why do we need to have multiple tracks or layers in video production? Well, a really good example of that is actually with text. So now that you guys know how to apply text onto your video, having multiple layers will allow you to put text over the top of your video, okay? So let me go ahead and demonstrate something like this so you guys can get an idea what I'm talking about. Now that we have these layers here, you can kind of see what I'm talking about, how you have your text on one layer, your solid color on another that has transparency, and underneath that, you have your mailbox clip here, okay? And here we are. So now we can see it will go from me looking right here to the mailbox to back to me looking, okay? And then back again to here. So that's the next, that's probably the number one actually reason why you use multiple tracks is by cutting back and forth from different video clips and to keeping those kind of organized. And then of course with overlaying effects and VFX and, you know, of course text as well too. All right, now that we've gotten over multi-track timelines, now you guys understand what we're looking at here and how to create layers with your video. And you can do the same thing with audio too, right? You can add different audio effects and then create different, you know, sound engineering, keep dragging in and dropping in, and you get your audio layers as well too, okay? All right, so now that we have talked about that, now let's get into animating. All right, so I'm gonna select all of that and then hit backspace on the keyboard, and then we're gonna go ahead and just bring in a let's go ahead and bring in a piece of text. It's probably the easiest thing to show with animation. Okay, and now we have our custom title right here, and we're gonna go over here to where it says title here, and then we're gonna click on it, and then we're gonna go over here and just say animate me. All right, type that in. Cool. Now, to get this to animate, first we need to click on it and go over to our inspector window. And then while we're in our inspector window, we're going to go up to the very top to where it says transform, okay? Transform is like another way of saying like its position or where it is placed on the screen, its size, its dimensions, its angle, pretty much anything that has to do with, you know, movement and things, pretty much, and sizing and properties of how things look. That's the transform. Okay, let's jump back into the software. So now that we have our transform window up here, or our transform section here of our settings, what we want to do is, let's say we wanted this text to move from the center of where it is to this corner. Okay, well, what you need to do is you need to do something called create a keyframe. So what you need to do is tell the software, hey, I want you to be right here at this time, okay? So as you'll see the playhead, right? At the beginning, we wanted to be in the center. So we're gonna go over here to the right, and then we're gonna create some keyframes. So this right here, keyframe at the top, will create a keyframe for everything, okay? And then we can hit the reset button right here. Or you can do a keyframe of certain things, right? Not everything, but maybe specific things. Maybe the anchor point, maybe the pitch, maybe the yaw, right? Reset. But for now, we're just going to go ahead and hit everything because I want everything to be recorded, okay? So now when the playhead gets to about halfway, or let's say to the very end, I want it to be in that corner. So now all you got to do is actually move, you know, your text to where you want it. So you can do that by clicking this over here, drag this down and click on transform. That's just an easier way of doing it than dragging and dropping these numbers like this. Now we can just pick this up and just move it. And the reason why I like this method is because you'll start to see this red line right here will appear. So you can see where it's going to animate and how it's going to get there. Okay. So that's one of the another reasons why I like to use the FX approach like that, or this drop down approach over here. So we're going to click it again just so we can disable this. Now, if we move our playhead back to the beginning, and as you see, if we start to drag this, look at what's happening. You see how it's starting here, and then we say, hey, when we get to the end, be here. So now if you play your video, watch what happens to the text. It's animated, okay? So this is pretty much animation in a nutshell, okay? There is an entire course that could be made probably on just animation alone, and there are so many different principles, but there are just a few things that I'm going to show you guys today that's going to really take your animations to the next level, and I think that will really help you guys a lot. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump back into the software, and let me show you guys a few last things on animation. So with animation, I told you guys there's a lot of things you can do. So when you animate something, you see how this is kind of like going at one steady pace. What if you kind of wanted to like jump there and then like slow down at a certain point? Okay, well, animations have a curve at which they define the movement. So let me kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. So you see this little symbol right here, this little curve symbol. You might have to get a little closer by hitting Alt on the keyboard and then holding it and then mouse scrolling in to get this a lot larger. Okay, so if you wanted to see the curve, click on this little curve icon, and then you'll start to see a graph will appear. Okay, now you'll notice that it doesn't look like anything here, right, that we need. That's because we're on zoom. We're not really affecting the zoom, because you see the zoom stays at 1, right? If we pull this clip back and go across, you see how the zoom stays at 1? That's not what we're affecting. What we're affecting is the position and the X and the Y value of the position. So if you click on this drop down arrow right here on the left side, then just uncheck all. We don't need everything. Well, let's start with position X for just now for simplicity. Okay, and now you can actually see the position of this this text moving from point A to point B. Okay, in fact, if you see this little note, this little diamond here, that's actually your keyframes too. So it will even show you these little dots here. That indicates where the keyframes are happening. This little dot and this little dot. Okay, so but what we want to do is we want to change the curve, right? So if you click on this little dot, let me move my playhead a little bit so you can see it. You see this little dot right here? Well, that's the corresponding to our keyframe dot. We want to say from here, well, I didn't want to move it. I just clicked it and moved it by accident. Yeah, you can actually animate like this too. You can draw things and you see how it's kind of affecting this up here. But that's not what we want to do. What we want to do is kind of ease in. So ease in, you can actually click on these different curve styles. And easing in is usually indicated by smoothness, right? So we're going to hit smooth. And then on this one, we're going to click on this keyframe. You see how it's linear? We don't want it linear. We want it to be smooth. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this number, or the curve. And now you can see how we get these little now arms that we can kind of pull and yank. If you click on this one, you can pull and yank on it. All right, now notice what happens when we play this animation with this curve going on. It's going to end up in the same place because we told it when time we get to here, as you see, it's going to be here. But notice how it gets there. All right, check this out. Oh, look at that. That is exactly not what you probably expected, right? So as you can see, as this goes down below in the negative values, it starts to go in the opposite direction. See how it's going left now instead of where I wanted it to? But then it's going to swoop back right here, as you can see, and start to go back the other direction. And here you go, boom, like a boomerang. Okay, and now this is going to come back to where it was. So as you can see, those different curves cause the animation to behave in different ways and makes it a lot more smoother. Okay, so but of course all we want to do is just get it to go there really nice and easy. So pretty much all you have to do for that is go ahead and reset this back to where it was. Basically just don't be in the negative. So now it should just swoop in real nice and smooth. Ready? And then it should speed up a little bit as it gets to the spot, and voila. All right, So that is pretty much animation in a nutshell. There is a lot more to animation, and I think I might make another video showing you guys more on animation, okay? There is another quick way of animating. So you can click on your diamond and you can click on your curve to get rid of that stuff. Another way to animate is if you click on your clip. Let's go ahead and just reset everything back to normal by hitting this up here. So we reset all the transforms. It doesn't animate, doesn't do anything anymore, okay? Another way you can animate is with something called the dynamic zoom. You can click on this over here, click that, and then you can expand it, and then you can do different types. You can do ease in and out like that as well. But notice the animation style. Notice what it does. So as you can see, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And if you hit swap, you can actually see that it will get larger and larger and larger now. So this is a very common method of animating that you probably have seen in movies. You know, you'll see them make these really cool fonts and titles, and then it will at the very end show the name of the movie, you know. So that is dynamic zoom. And just keep in mind that dynamic zoom is controlled by how long or short the clip is. So if it's shorter, it'll do it faster. So you see it's doing it a lot faster now, but if it's longer, it does it a lot slower. Okay, so that is dynamic zoom. And let's say you wanted to try the ease in and out, or the ease, there we go, ease in and out. It's kind of hard to tell when it's that long. Let's kind of shorten it. And now you'll see, if we play this, it starts off kind of slow and it slows down towards the end as well. So the full speed is somewhere here in the middle, but at the very beginning and at the very end, it starts to slow down. Okay, so let's see if we can get a little bit longer so you can see a little bit better. Slow, 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 fast, 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 slow, 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 slow. Okay. All right. So yeah, that is animating. Definitely play around with different animation things. You know, you can animate all kinds of things. You can animate the rotation. So I'm gonna click on this keyframe right here, and then I wanted to do a flip while doing a dynamic zoom. So I want to do a rotation while doing dynamic zoom. So there we are, this direction. So there you go. So now if you play, now you can see it's doing a dynamic zoom while also doing that rotation. So again, play with different things. Just keep in mind that where your playhead is, and when you put a keyframe there, that is what you're saying at this moment, be here. Okay, so if you're not sure where your keyframes all are because you can't see them, remember you can hit the diamond here. Okay, and remember, if you wanted to change the behavior of the animation, you can click on the curve, and then you can go to whatever, click on this drop down and pick the exact parameter that you want to affect. And so that's how you can change that curve of that particular parameter. Okay. All right, guys. So that is animation. I mean, wow, isn't that really cool what you can do? There's so many things you can do with animation. You can animate different titles and texts. You can animate pretty much anything. If you see that little, you know, if you see that little diamond icon next to anything in DaVinci Resolve, it can be a keyframe and it can be animated. Okay, so that is animation in a nutshell, and we did multi-track timelines. So wow, that was quite a bit in one video. I did not mean for this to go as long as it did, but I hope that that was very valuable information, and I hope that you guys enjoyed that one. Okay, so we're gonna get into compound clips next, which is actually really, really nice. I think you guys will find that to be really, really useful as your timelines get really, really compound, what a pun, as your timelines really get thick and thick. That's going to really help you with keeping things a little bit organized. Okay, so we'll talk about compound clips next and how you can use those. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend and a wonderful evening as well, and we will see you guys in the next video. All right, take care.